Hey YouTube, DutchSense here. It is 12:08 a.m. on Tuesday, March 15th, 2011. And I am still here, guys. I didn't bug out on you. I had to get some sleep, actually. I literally just woke up, so I'm totally flipped on my schedule now. I'm getting up at midnight, and I'm staying up all night. So I gotta, work on that, I guess. But don't worry, I'm still here in St. Louis. And just a quick update on the radiation before I get into this earthquake stuff. The radiation it's now 3 confirmed huge explosions, and the 4th is still debatable. But what I'd like to say is the United States, before I bug out of St. Louis, I'm waiting till the sensors on the West Coast start to show activity. Now that's no good for anybody who already lives out there, but that's what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I don't know of any sensor arrays placed out in the Pacific to let us know when it's going to be arriving on the West Coast. But I'd like to remind everybody, before you freak out, that from roughly where my mouse is here to where my mouse is here, United States, Russia, UK, France, China, all did a couple thousand now, I guess, nuclear tests out here. Huge, massive hydrogen explosions, hydrogen bombs, and plutonium bombs, and uranium bombs, and all types of fissile material. They did them up in the atmosphere. They did them in the ocean. They did them beneath the ground. That was out here in the Pacific. Now, before they did them out there in the Pacific, they did them here in Nevada. 100 at least nuclear explosions, huge, some supermassive. So I'd just like to remind you guys that the radiation that's coming from this, albeit it's coming from 3 reactors that have exploded, is not going to kill you. I just don't see how it could. I mean, we've done nuclear tests in our own country, and it didn't cause the Midwest to die. So I think it's right now it's a bunch. I mean, when you say radioactive meltdown, those 2 words together is just like the worst words you could ever say together in a sentence. So everybody worst case scenarios it, thinking, oh my God, we're gonna look like these people over right next to Chernobyl. I'd like to remind everybody that when Chernobyl exploded, and it did explode, a huge cloud didn't even go that high in the atmosphere, and it went down over Germany and southern Europe. And all those people were exposed to a large level of radiation. It's still detectable in the plants and stuff there. But it did not kill everybody. So, that being said, let's get into something that really is truly dangerous. And I want to show you what's going on because this is a really big deal. And when I show it to you, you're really, honestly, I think you're going to be quite shocked at what my prediction is here. So let me just go over to Google Earth. Open that one up really quick. Let me show you HAARP while we're at it. HAARP is experiencing some serious spike in activity. And this is a big time different readout than what was currently happening when the Japan quake happened. If we go back to the Japan quake, you'll be able to see what was going on. We need to go back one more day. Oh, you're fine, you're fine. If you hear any sound in the background, we're in the process of eating while we're doing this. Yeah, I know. It's dedication, guys. Yeah, so here's roughly the time of the earthquakes. And HAARP is running so slow. They must have moved that thing to like the oldest server in the world. All right, here's Google Earth. Here's what I want to show you. Okay. This is Japan. Right here. And let me center this to north. All right, here's Japan. Now you'll notice something as I zoom it in. A bunch of earthquakes. Let's zoom it back out though, so you can see what I'm talking about. there is a giant wall or a ridge, if you want to call it that, that Japan rests atop of like a pedestal on top of a wall. And what I've noticed is something very, well, ominous. What I see here are not just earthquakes happening along the ground. I'm seeing this in 3 dimensions. I'm actually looking at it down like we're above it, which means these earthquakes are not happening just along the ground. They're actually happening along this wall, this massive wall that goes from, it goes from sea level, 2 feet right at the beach, down to 20,000 feet below the sea in the course of 150 miles. So it goes from 0 to negative 20,000 in 100 miles. And what I see happening here are cracks. These they have to be. You can even see kind of like how they come up. These are cracks or fissures that are forming in the wall beneath the pedestal that holds up Japan. Now, how do I know this? Japan, during this last earthquake, shifted towards the United States. Some reports 8 feet, some reports 8 inches. All right, so I've heard 8 feet several times. So I'm going to go with the 8 feet that it's been moved, and then there you have it. It fell. It's wobbling. It's sliding this way. And if it already moved 8 feet towards the United States, and the earthquakes have not stopped. They have not stopped. I mean, they just had another 5 point whatever. These are all 4s, 5s, and 6s, each one of them. Which means each time that one of these earthquakes is happening, you're seeing another section of this wall or pedestal bust off. My cat's now freaking out. I'm not going to edit any of this out. I'm just going to leave it all in. So, here we go. This is my forecast for Japan, is that these earthquakes are happening along the wall in fissure style, right up to where the main island comes out. And if it already shifted 8 feet to the east, you can expect it as soon as this goes again. There has to be another large earthquake. There has to be. Because the big 9.0 happened right here. And you can see the ridges, the fissures, coming up off the side of the mountain, or the side of the cliff. And I think this is going to fracture, and something's going to fall down the cliff, if it isn't already. The cliff is crumbling. It's absolutely terrible. So, there we have the earthquake situation in Japan. United States, quieted off. But to show you that, I'm going to have to go, and we're going to have to go look at a few things. First, I want to look at Yellowstone, because I've got a lot of requests about Yellowstone. What's going on with Yellowstone? There's been reports that the geysers have stopped erupting. Those are false reports. Do not believe that. You can watch the webcam. But what is going on right now at Yellowstone is some activity. And I'm looking at this real time. I have not looked at it up to now. Been so busy sleeping. Okay. Wow, I'm getting big time lag time. Let's go ahead and turn off Google Earth. Now that I showed you that, I'm not going to go back to Google Earth. That's just, to me, that's depressing. Yeah, alright, so this is Mammoth Lake. We've got 2 back-to-back, probably 2.0s, maybe 2.5s. Those are nice little size earthquakes there. Surprised they're not showing up on the real-time map. And we've got some background harmonic movement, big time. And that's magma flow underground. And that looks like it for Yellowstone. Maybe up here at Mammoth Vault. Those are maybe 1.0s, but back to back again. All right, and now let's check the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, and let's check the southern Washington area first. It seemed like this area was experiencing activity. That looks roughly pretty quiet. And let's check a couple more of these really quick. Getting some background movement, some more harmonic magma flow. So things are moving at in the St. Helens region for sure, especially earlier. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, well, yeah, they're getting some activity up there. Definitely going to want to keep an eye on the Pacific Northwest still, because it keeps giving these signs that there's some serious movement. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see this. And these are at the different volcanic locations. Let's check up near Seattle. Yeah. So there's definite movement up there, and that's to be expected because of the recent Japan movement. Once all that stuff starts to move, there was 5 volcanoes that erupted within the last day and a half, starting with the Japan earthquake and going up until yesterday. The Shimananoki volcano erupted on the main island of Japan. So the other forecast that I would issue would be for South America. South America, Chile has been awfully quiet lately. We haven't heard very much out of there. So South America, Chile, Japan, and Pacific Northwest United States. And honestly, California's been too quiet, but I don't know what to think about that. It really has been awfully quiet out in California compared to how things were just a week ago. A week ago, we were having hundreds here of 2s and 3s. Now we're only having singles. So keep your eye on the seismograph, guys, because this is definitely going to be something you want to monitor. I'm predicting Japan's going to get hit again, and maybe in the next, I don't know, the frequency of the quakes, maybe we're looking at a week, maybe a week or two, at the most. Because the earthquakes are not stopping there, and they're all the same size, just like they were before the big one. And that's just in my opinion, but all right, so there you have it. I'm going to do a meteorological update in a minute and just monitor the jet stream, and we're going to do a radiation update, see what's going on with the radiation. And much love at all you guys, so don't freak out, don't worry. The sun went black, by the way, the other day. I'm just saying. Much love.